Hello, everyone, and welcome to Decoding Italy. In this channel, we are going to talk about stories that have shaped and redefined Italian culture, helping you see through Italian lenses and raise awareness about news that shocked this country. In this first episode, I'm going to talk about a case that has had huge resonance in Italian homes everywhere, because it involves one of the most beloved celebrity couples in the country. The disappearance of Ylenia Carrisi. Ylenia is the firstborn daughter of the famous Italian couple Bano and Romina Power. They are both icons of the Italian music scene, having performed international hits such as Felicità, Charazan, and Ci sarà. The couple met during the shooting of a film in 1967 and were inseparable ever since, until something broke between them. Ylenia Carrisi was the first among the 4 children of the pair. She was born on the 29th of November 1970 in Rome, and from a very young age she always wanted to explore the world beyond her small town in southern Italy. Her mother, in many interviews, recalls her wandering spirit, her intelligence, and her humbleness. She often says her daughter never treated on her striking beauty. She was so gifted that before her disappearance, she was studying literature at King's College London. She could speak multiple languages and was one of the top students in her class. In the summer of 1993, her family decided to go on vacation in the United States, her mother's country of origin. They stopped in New Orleans, a city where Ylenia decided to start writing a book about street musicians. It was there that she first met a trumpet player named Alexander Masakela, who gave her a book called New Think by Edward de Bono. Many people interpreted this event as a telling detail. The book centers on the topic of lateral thinking, the ability to solve problems by escaping linear logical processes, which painted a picture of a girl who was already searching for a new way out of her ordinary life. Before and during this trip, she had begun showing a different side of herself, and her desire to travel the world alone, with nothing but her backpack and her diary, kept growing. After some time, her parents left for Florida, and she joined them only 2 days later. After their return to Europe, she shared her plans with her family and decided to put a halt on her studies. In October, she left for Belize, a small country near Mexico, where she spent a few months in a small town called Hopkins. A few days before New Year's Eve, her brother Yari decided to surprise her. He flew to Belize, excited to see how she was doing. Once he arrived in Hopkins, however, he made an unexpected discovery. She was nowhere to be found. After asking around for a while, he learned that he had missed her by just 24 hours. She had already left to go back to New Orleans. She had booked a room at Le Dale Hotel, where she was staying with Alexander Masakela, the 54-year-old trumpet player she had met the previous summer. She spoke to her father a few days later, and he was furious that she had not notified the family of her whereabouts. That was the last time he would ever hear her voice. The last person to see her was the hotel manager, Cindy Dale, who reported seeing her leave on the morning of the 6th of January. She was alone, wearing a long floral dress and a jacket, and had left all her personal belongings in the room: her backpack, her passport, her diary, a camera, and her Bible. A few other people recalled seeing her around 11 a.m. in the French Quarter, but after that, she simply vanished. On the 13th of January, Masakela left the hotel room and attempted to pay with Ylenia's traveler's checks, yet he had never reported her missing. He would later explain that he considered her disappearance normal behavior and hadn't thought anything bad had happened. At that point, the hotel managers decided to report her missing to the police, who immediately issued a search warrant. Her parents were informed and got on a plane without hesitation. The first major mistake made by the police was letting Alexander Masakela go. Just a few weeks later, another woman reported him for assault, but the case was dismissed due to lack of evidence. After that first release, he was never found again. He had a habit of hiding his identity under false documents and had no fixed address. A week later, a man named Albert Cordova, a night guard at a local aquarium, came forward with a disturbing account. He recalled seeing a blonde woman around Ylenia's age standing at the edge of the Mississippi River at around 11:30 p.m. She had a vacant, confused expression on her face. Since the park was closed that hour, he approached her and told her to move along. She answered, "I don't care. I belong to the waters," and jumped straight into the river. He yelled at her to get out, but she kept swimming as though she couldn't hear him. He called for backup, and together they shouted at her to come back. Then suddenly she began screaming for help. A whirlpool had formed around her and pulled her under. They searched for hours, but she was never found. At the end of January, the police showed Cordova a photograph of Ylenia. He seemed to recognize her, but was never fully certain. The case could not be formally closed since none of the bodies recovered from the river were identified as hers. Despite the lack of conclusive evidence, Albano has always been convinced that it was his daughter. He told the press that she used to murmur the phrase, "I belong to the waters," even as a young girl. Her mother, Romina, on the other hand, never stopped searching for her and has always held on to the belief that she is alive somewhere. This tragedy is often cited in Italian media as the greatest contributor to the separation of Albano and Romina Power in 1999. Their split didn't just end a marriage, it shattered the ultimate Italian fairy tale, showing a nation that even the most golden families weren't immune to grief. Today, Ylenia's disappearance remains one of the most painful unresolved stories in Italian pop culture, a moment where public entertainment and private tragedy became forever intertwined on national television.